Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about women, if you can't tell by the title. Essentially, I'm just going to be talking about a few things that I've been thinking about recently and just get some stuff off my mind. And I'm also going to be doing my makeup at the same time. It's Demi! So I got the idea to do this video after I saw a post on Def Noodle's account on Twitter. Hi, it's editing me. Before you comment about the little rash on my face, it's not a rash. I shaved my face right before this and I did a really bad job. So my face is super red, but it'll go away, so don't worry. It was Dixie D'Amelio. I think it wasn't backstage, but it was like her planning her outfits for, I think, the Billboard Music Awards. And she was just sort of talking, or she was like nervous that to wear this silver dress or something like that because she was scared that people were going to make fun of her.
Like, I don't want to get bullied. I'm like, bullied? For what?
Dixie.
Being cool?
Dixie. Stop.
Thank
it doesn't
you.
not matter. Like, you're going to get
It doesn't not matter. You're going to get it either way.
It does not matter. That's what I'm saying.
It does not matter.
You're going to get it either way, so you might as well look amazing doing it.
It's just so interesting to me that people really hate this Dixie D'Amelio girl for, honestly, like, I don't want to say no reason, but just like stupid reasons. Like, it's the same thing. It reminds me of Madison Beer, who I've actually known about for like a really long time. So I'm not saying that Dixie D'Amelio or Madison Beer are above criticism, because they're literally not. Like, if you want to criticize Madison Beer and Dixie D'Amelio, there are like plenty of things to criticize them for. Like, for example, the video of Dixie D'Amelio dancing to the N-word, or like Madison Beer's performative activism. I really don't want it to sound like I'm defending rich people, because eat the rich, but at the same time, I can't imagine being Dixie D'Amelio, who's like literally the same age as me, and just being so scared to wear like a literal silver dress because I'm afraid like I'm just gonna get shit on the internet. And again, I don't want this to come off as me defending these people, because it's not like these people are like not oppressed. Like, they fit into the European beauty standard. They're like privileged, they're rich, they're white women. But again, I just can't imagine really being in their positions at such a young age and people hating you for seemingly no reason. Can you tell that I'm really not trying to defend these privileged people, but I'm also at the same time worried about their mental health and their well-being? Yeah, it's definitely a difficult one. Like I said before, we should criticize them for things that they've actually done wrong. And we should honestly, if I'm being completely honest, we should be criticizing TikTok, the app, for literally only pushing white creators and pretty creators. Hi, I'm in no way trying to say that black people aren't pretty. It was just really bad wording. I'm trying to say that TikTok only pushes conventionally attractive white people that fit into European beauty standards in the algorithm. And honestly, like, being racist towards black people, like their algorithm's racist towards black people. And that's really something that they need to fix. But also, in a way, if you're not speaking out against that, you're also contributing. So as a white woman, someone like Dixie D'Amelio or Madison Beer, it's important to recognize that you're profiting from discrimination. You're profiting from being white. So I hope what I was saying made sense. I'm just trying to say that Dixie and Madison are just examples of white women that profit from the discrimination of like black women and the oppression of black women or BIPOC women or other minority women. So my next point, I had to cut out the footage of it because what I was saying really just didn't make sense. But my next point was that the sort of hate that Dixie and Madison get reminds me of the hate that we used to send to Disney Channel stars or people like Taylor Swift back in the day, and how we look back at that now, the mass amounts of hate we sent to those people, and we think, why did we do that? Like, that was so weird. And I just think that in a few years, we're going to look back at the hate that we sent towards these women and think that that was unnecessary and really uncalled for. My mirror is like literally like 10 feet away from me, so I'm pretty much doing this blindly. I could be looking absolutely terrible, and I literally would not know. I would not know. So, what I said about Taylor Swift sort of brings me to my next point about the sort of double standard that women face in like popular culture or in society or whatever. I think this is a more obvious one where people are aware that people still do this. And I'm talking about the double standard of women being hoes or sluts versus men just having, like, being cool or whatever. Lori Harvey, notoriously, I guess, has had a lot of different partners, I guess, in the past few years. Specifically rappers, I think, but don't quote me on that. Unsurprisingly, people have given her hate for this because she's a woman. Literally, that's the only reason. It's sort of similar to the whole Taylor Swift situation where I think it was probably, it had to be even worse a few years ago, where everyone was like, oh, Taylor Swift's a hoe, like, oh, another boyfriend for Taylor Swift. There are things that you can criticize people for. There are things that you can criticize people for. Like, you can criticize Lori Harvey or Taylor Swift for things, but let's not criticize them for having partners. Like, that's unnecessary. So, like I said before, the whole Dixie and Madison thing makes me think that people are going to look back at the mass amounts of hate that they, like, sent to these girls and be like, what were we thinking? Just like Taylor Swift. Like, I'm not even, like, a Taylor Swift fan, but, like, Taylor Swift got so much hate. Like, the past few years, Taylor Swift was, like, the number one hated, like, female singer. Like, it was not cool to like Taylor Swift. People were like, well, first of all, people still probably thought she was a hoe or whatever. And also, it was the whole Kanye situation where everyone called her a liar because Kim provided like recordings of her saying that she approved this lyric of this song, even though she publicly said she didn't approve it. Like, there was this whole thing. It was between, you know what I'm talking about. It was between Kim and Kanye. And now, when her documentary came out, and it proved that she never actually approved those exact lyrics, everyone's like, oh, we're sorry, Taylor Swift. We're sorry, Taylor Swift. So the whole Kanye-Taylor Swift situation sort of brings me to my next point, which is the stereotype that women are liars and that they're, like, over dramatic. So I think it was last year in 2020, when, you probably know this, but when Megan Thee Stallion was shot in the foot by Tory Lanez. I still never know how to pronounce his name. That's how irrelevant he is. I don't know how to pronounce this man's name. And, like, at first, like, no one believed that he had done it, and then she came out with a statement that, like, no, he was the one that shot her in the foot, and, like, it was obviously pretty fucked up.
Yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. You want me to be a bad person so bad, and y'all motherfuckers want to believe the lie before you believe the truth. Stop trying to come on the internet acting like a black woman, a grown-ass black woman, really got any reason to be lying on another grown-ass black man. If you really want to tell the motherfucking truth, I've tried to save this nigga. Even though he shot me, I tried to spare him. And y'all motherfuckers is not sparing me. That's crazy. That's fucked up. Stop fucking acting like black women is the motherfucking problem. Stop acting like black women is aggressive when all they be doing is speaking the motherfucking facts and you motherfuckers can't handle it.
And I remember during this time, like, just looking at comments on Instagram or, like, on Twitter and seeing, like, these people, especially men, being like, she's a liar or she's a bitch, or like literally sending this woman death threats because she came out and said that this rapper shot her in the foot. It was just such a weird, like almost like out of body experience where I was like, people actually think this way. And it just was really disheartening in a way to see that a lot of these men were like defending this guy for shooting a woman in the foot. I think the takeaway really from that situation, and even the Taylor Swift situation, is that it's important to listen to women and to also listen to victims in these situations, and also to stop being misogynistic. Yeah. So I want to talk more about YouTube, specifically family channels and beauty YouTube, and the sort of double standard that women face there. So first I wanted to talk about beauty YouTube, and this is sort of a complex subject in a way, because when we think of beauty YouTube, we think of it as a female dominated industry, right? I mean, statistically, there are more women doing beauty YouTube or most likely use makeup. But if you look at the top creators in the space, it's like pretty much all men. And I'm not the first one to point this out, by no means. It was actually, I was watching a Samantha Ravindell video and she actually pointed it out. It made me start to think about it like, damn, like that's true. So the Bi Sister scandal, the infamous beauty YouTube scandal. So I think it happened back in 2019, I think, or it could be 2018. Honestly, I don't know. So if you don't know, essentially the beauty YouTuber Tati came out with a video accusing James Charles of being, in a way, like a predator, or like, she didn't actually say danger to society, but she was just accusing him of doing a lot of shady things and being narcissistic and all these things. It was super explosive. As you guys probably know, James lost millions of subscribers. He got canceled, quote unquote, all these things, right? But Jeffree Star was also a part of that scandal. It was not just Tati. Did Tati make the video? Yes, she made the video. But Jeffree was literally the one that was like, James is a danger to society, which he is, don't get me wrong. But at the time, we didn't know. Jeffree Star was the one that was like, James is a danger to society, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously Tati came out with a video like a year or so later explaining that she was influenced by Shane and Jeffree. That's sort of besides the point, but I think Tati in that situation, once James came out with his second video, she was the one that got the most backlash. And was she canceled? No, I definitely wouldn't say she was canceled. But in the long run, Tati has suffered the most, right? I also want to point out that beauty YouTube gets a bad rap for being super drama filled and just having a lot of drama, when in reality it's the big creators like Jeffree Star and James Charles that start drama, and it's not women. And I think that goes back to the stereotype that women are dramatic and they like to gossip, but in reality it's these men that are the ones that are causing all these problems. And I think it's kind of misogynistic when other creators talk about how drama-filled beauty YouTube is, when in reality it has equals amount of drama that other different types of spaces on YouTube have as well. So again, that really could just be because she was the one that made the video. She was really like the face of that scandal. But there's also been other instances where Jeffree Star has like a different set of rules versus other people. So for example, we all know the Jaclyn Hill lipstick situation, right? Jaclyn Hill came out with hairy, moldy lipsticks. It was gross. She said they were fibers. Who knows if they were fibers? But that whole situation was super big. It literally made like news. I'm like, wouldn't be surprised if my parents literally knew about it, because it was literally all over the place. People not in beauty YouTube were talking about it. You probably know. But I think it was 2019 when Jeffree Star, people found fibers in Jeffree Star palettes, and it got nowhere like the same amount of attention that Jaclyn Hill got. And is it a bit different? Kind of, but is it kind of the same? Yeah. So why is Jaclyn Hill like having to take a break from YouTube for like months, and then Jeffree Star is just acting like it didn't happen, and then he's like fine? Again, it just feels like there's a double standard, and really I could be making shit up or like grasping at straws, but it's hard not to look at some of these situations and feel like it's purposeful and that there's something behind it. But let me know what you think. So I'm gonna finish my eyes off camera, and then I'll be back to do my face, and then we'll be done with the makeup. Okay, so I'm back. I finished my eyes, and I also filled in my eyebrows. So I'm gonna move on to the face, and I'm gonna finish off sort of my points or whatever. So my last point is probably my most controversial one, because I'm going to talk about family channels, the literal bane of YouTube. So I'm not personally really familiar with family channels, because literally why would I watch that? So these are really like the only examples that I know personally. So with family channels, I wanted to sort of talk about how women that are a part of family channels usually get more hate than the men do, or their husbands, I should say. So I'm going to use the examples of Micah Stauffer and Nikki Phillippi, who are really the only family channels that I know. Micah Stauffer and her husband adopted a child from China. He ended up having a lot of, I think, mental disabilities. I think he was like neurodivergent or something. And they literally essentially returned their child and rehomed him. And then for Nikki Phillippi, she and her husband put down or killed their dog because their dog bit their son. So in both of those situations, really the face of those scandals, or the person that got the most hate, was the woman, or was Micah, or was Nikki. So Nikki and Micah got more hate than their husbands did in those situations. So I think that the reason why the woman usually gets, or the wife I should say, gets the most hate in situations involving families and family channels really has to do with patriarchy. Obviously gender roles, and in history, women have been the ones to stay at home, have been the ones to take care of the family. So in a way, that's sort of really ingrained in us. So when something happens with a family channel, the blame all goes towards really the woman or the wife. I mean, I literally don't know their husbands' names. I only know Micah Stauffer, Nikki Phillippi, because that's sort of how people refer to the scandal. It's the woman. Even though in both those situations, the men are responsible as well. In the Micah situation, her husband agreed to adopt that child as well. He was a part of that decision. He's a parent. They have equal amounts of responsibility. In the Nikki situation, the man, the husband, literally said he wanted to shoot the dog. Their dog. He wanted to shoot their dog. But again, we refer to these situations as Nikki, Micah. They're really the faces of these controversies. In conclusion, my point here is that there's a lot of double standards going on. There's a lot of unnecessary hate that goes towards women specifically. So I'm not trying to say that men don't get hate. They definitely do, but it's just in a different way. And to like, what degree do they get hate? Do women get more hate? Do men get more hate? In my opinion, women tend to get more hate in a lot of the situations that I talked about today. So I talked about a lot of white women today, but I just want to make it clear that BIPOC women suffer a lot more discrimination than white women do, and I don't want to be this like voice of white feminism, because again, BIPOC women or minority women face way more discrimination than white women will ever face. I just want to make it clear that what I'm saying applies to everyone and probably applies even more so to BIPOC women. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Definitely let me know what you guys think about these situations, and let me know if you think what I was saying wasn't right, or I don't know, just let me know what you guys think. So yeah, follow me on my social media. I'll link them down below. I'll also link the products down below, and yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, and bye.